The unto flowed in the wind, its leaves invite the strong winds above the world. The unto sat tall, well trained for war, preparing for the battle to come. They passed out pouches of white powder. Taking turns, they rubbed it on their gums and passed it to the next man. It took a few moments, but Levi could feel the powder work. He could see everyone start grinding their teeth, tapping their feet, feeling the power. He joined them, unable to sit down. Spinning around, he could feel his blood rush into his hand. Grinding his teeth, he began to whoop along with his troop.
God brought us here!
Pacing around with giant clubs, you could see why they were called modern barbarians. Men who were the biggest and most brutal, most of them criminals or burnouts who couldn't handle modern life. The unto would become their home. Angry, violent brutes with a terrifying purpose.
I said, God brought us here! We are blessed! We are ready! We are God's warriors!
The mighty unto's leaves flew over the Gorek ship. Violently, the leaves began to get pulled down.
Come on!
The unto warriors' cries could be heard as they descended on the ship, the leaves crashing and covering the ship. With a great roll, Levi pushes his body off and into the battle. Using his massive frame, he kicked through the ship, landing on a pile of cannonballs, his armor tearing into his skin. Thanks to the rush, he didn't feel a thing except his mesh suit sticking to the wound. Moving fast, he was surrounded by civilians. They cower away from him, a few brave souls holding weapons at him. Levi approaches a chef holding a wavering sword.
Not looking to hurt you, mate.
The chef, unable to look at him, nodded. Levi ran up the stairs just in time to spot a Gorek slasher, a giant holding a metal club covered in razor blades.
Oi!
The slasher saw Levi, flashing a smile. On cue, he began to approach him. Levi began running towards him. Getting close, he was tripped by the chef, who slashed at his knees. Levi fell again, quickly swiping a catch into the chef's jaw. The chef now struck down on the floor with Levi, felt as Levi cut his cheek open.
Said I wasn't gonna hurt you.
He grabbed the chef's hand, pulling him into the hand claw with a pop.
Stay down!
The man was too busy coughing up his own skull to respond. Just in time, Levi blocked a strike from the slasher. Throwing a knee strike, he struck the club, looking to break the slasher's grasp. Preparing for another strike on the slasher's club, Levi felt a knife deep in his shoulder blade. The chef's ugly hanging jaw produces an even uglier laugh. In a quick swipe, Levi swung his club, slamming it into the chef's head, it ripping from his shoulder. Turning around, the slasher's razor blades entered his chest. With a great push and twist, the slasher dug his blades into Levi's skin, rending and ripping everything it touched. Levi felt it this time. Pulling back, Levi heard his skin tear, the slasher's blade holding strong to strips of flesh. Levi slammed his club into the slashers over and over again. The slasher, laughing, blocked every attack. Levi, now feeling blood enter his lungs, he desperately held back the attacks as he was pushed to the edge of the ship. Feeling himself slow from blood loss, he was barely keeping up. On the 12th strike, Levi drops his club. The slasher, drunk on confidence, lifted his club for a final blow. Taking advantage, Levi tackled him onto the edge of the ship, using the edge to wildly slam the slasher's head into the cracked wood. Feeling the slasher's skull snap and his teeth loosen, Levi savagely kept up the attack, ignoring slashes at his chest and arms until he felt the blade slash his neck. The blood pouring on his hands, he slipped, falling into the slasher. Unable to get up from his own blood puddle, it became a bloody wrestling match, one that Levi was losing. Quickly losing grip, the slasher began striking his face over and over. Levi tried blocking, his weak arms unable to do anything. Levi was dying until he heard a yelp. Opening his eyes, he saw that Tom-Tom's soldiers had stabbed and hooked the slasher. He sensed them pulling him into the sea. Hitting the water, he felt his wounds stinging in the salt water. He tried screaming, but his gills were too exhausted. Beginning to pass out, he saw the slasher being held down in the water by two Tom-Tom. His wild movements made shockwaves in the water. His deep, pathetic breaths made him look more like an animal than man. The slasher's eyes dulled, his movements replaced with silence. Levi passed out. When he woke up, he was in terrible pain. Half of his body was covered in bandages, his neck holding hundreds of little stitches. In pain, he turned to his right, seeing a young Tom-Tom sewing a small cut on his forehead.
Wouldn't want to be that guy.